good morning. Hello, everybody. Glad you're with us here with Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. We're together again, which is not very often, but we are today. How about this background?
We are at the Montgomery Regional Airport. Getting better the more you use it. It's a different spot for us. Normally, we're downstairs, right at check-in, right by the big MGM blocks. We're upstairs right now in the beautiful second floor, marble floors. And when you come to the Montgomery Regional Airport, John, it's got a distinctive look to it. It's kind of a curve on the outside. Well, we're on the large side of that curve. Plenty of natural light. It's beautiful. It's airy. Right up here on the second floor, right next to the TSA.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
And right down to, we are, for me, I'm about maybe 40 yards away from my car.
Good point.
For John, we're about 20 yards away from his favorite coffee shop.
You're right.
Can't beat the convenience.
Well, you really can't, Barry. You're right. With a different location, we thought we'd move around a little bit here at the Montgomery Regional Airport. And you're right, Barry. It's interesting. When we came on the air, there's some passengers about to go through TSA. They looked over here, wanted to know what was going on as we started the broadcast. So glad we're here. The rotunda. If you notice the stars in the rotunda right there, the little pin lights that they put up there. It's very beautiful. Interesting. So, yeah, we're going to tell you all about the great things here at the Montgomery Regional Airport and why your travels should start and end right here at MGM.
With that in mind, there is an initiative taking place at the Montgomery Regional Airport. Its newest community-focused initiative. They call it the Stop Double Tripping campaign.
Correct.
Which I love it. It's been going on for a couple of weeks, I guess. Well, almost 3 weeks now. It goes on for 6 weeks. It's a promotion designed to educate and engage local travelers. That means you on the convenience of flying from their hometown airport, John, instead of driving hours to larger hubs. They call it double tripping, which I think is genius. Why take a trip to make a trip?
You shouldn't. Because, Barry, you want it to be easy, convenient, hassle-free. You don't want delays, interruptions, and you can certainly experience those when you try to go to some far bigger airport thinking you're getting a better deal, whatever it may be. Barry, we hear the horror stories all the time. The latest one I heard is a family was traveling internationally. They were leaving out of the international terminal there at Hartsfield in Atlanta, which is Terminal F. It's a totally different terminal that you have to get to from the original 5 that were there, A through E. And they drive over there and they get in this log jam trying to even get into the international terminal. And I'm just sitting there shaking my head going, when you originate your travels from MGM, you've already gone through security. So when you land in Atlanta, you're in the terminal. You don't have to deal with all that outside noise and all that confusion and headache. And Barry, when you return, you're having to do the same thing. I am happy to say we've had so many people that have listened and watched our programs over the year that have said, hey, I hear you guys, and I start all my travel from MGM.
And why not? Why not? It's a gateway, certainly. American Airlines, Delta, flights, of course, to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Fort Worth, Washington, D.C. Why double trip? I mean, how many of you say, man, I can't wait to take 2 trips? To get where I need to go. No.
I was thinking last week, Mary, of course, I was out and I did some air traveling myself. And I hear these people complain about, well, something happened with my flight here, something happened with my flight there. And usually I have to admit, I hear people say about something that happened in their hometown. And it just doesn't happen here. It happens in Birmingham. It happens in Mobile, Huntsville, Jackson, Mississippi, you name it. But, of course, we left seamlessly out of MGM last week, went to Atlanta, made our connection, had to fly to Mexico City. Well, the pilot didn't show up. So the plane's like 2 hours late leaving Atlanta to go to Mexico City. What happened? Missed my connection in Mexico City. Had nothing to do with what happened here in Montgomery. It all happened in Atlanta. So there again, folks, it can happen anywhere. It kind of irks me when I hear people kind of give it to MGM. Folks, let me tell you, we don't want it to happen anywhere, no doubt, but it happens everywhere, sometime, someplace. So, folks, I'm telling you, I've said this before, Barry. I know you do too. You travel a lot out of MGM.
Yep.
I cannot tell you the times I've flown out of here that has been seamless. I can think of one time I've shared this story before that I missed my flight out of MGM. It was the day the tornado hit the high school in Enterprise. Remember that years ago? I think it tore the gym up or something. The weather was terrible. That makes sense. That's the only time it's ever affected me.
The times I've flown out, I've enjoyed the times I've come back.
Sure.
Where it's easy and convenient. Look, this is a big travel weekend coming up. 4th of July weekend.
That's right.
Next weekend is a big travel weekend. Make it easy on yourself. Go to flymgm.com and travel above.
Of course, new baggage system here as well at MGM. So folks should be excited about that.
That's right. $5 million renovation at baggage claim.
Yes, expediting that baggage process.
Yep.
And of course, when you come back home and you land, you want to get that baggage as quickly as possible, and that certainly can happen. With the new baggage that you just mentioned there. So that's a great addition. You mentioned the 4th of July, Barry. I had to chuckle. I've probably told you this before, but it was a couple of summers when I was in college. I worked here at the airport.
Oh, yeah.
When Delta, the mainline Delta, was still coming into Montgomery, not the regional carriers that you see in communities like Montgomery all the time. And the first summer, I figured out real quick, I want to work on the 4th of July. I got paid extra, like time and a half. For a college kid, getting paid time and a half for a summer job. I said, I'll work the 4th of July. I'm in.
Everybody says, look at the work ethic on this kid.
Yeah,
him.
Yeah, I'm in.
The entire process is quick and seamless at flymgm.com. We're here with a big show planned today.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Caldwell, auburnundercover.com, Rodney Orr, the Tiger Insider at tigerinsider.com. NBA draft first round was conducted last night. Not really any surprises, I guess. But the best news of the morning, and I'm checking all of the sports news and everything like that. The best news of the morning was John enters the day worry-free.
Yeah.
I told you yesterday, and John works this way too, that this AL.com piece or somebody from Athlon magazine, their Athlon College Football Preview magazine, which evidently is one of the first ones out, quoted unnamed sources as questioning why Hugh Freeze,
why would you do that,
has played so much golf this year.
Yeah.
John noted the numbers. He's I don't know how it works because I'm not a member of the USGA and I don't have a handicap and all that kind of stuff. But he has actually logged in 25 scores.
Correct.
From 25 different rounds. Some people think that's a lot. John says, I hadn't played 25 rounds of golf this year.
You know, I thought about it.
And he's the head football coach of the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, I thought about it. I'm probably close to 25. I might have played 25. Now, I don't coach an SEC football team, but I might have now that I think more about it. But you mentioned timeless and classic.
Yes.
That's what Philip Marshall is, Barry, because he has chimed in on this.
That's what the best part of the morning is so far. John comes in, a little spring in his step, a little wilt in his voice. And I'm thinking, you seem remarkably worry-free. He said, I was concerned that maybe Hugh had been spending too much time playing golf and maybe a little less time on the golf course and a little more time on the job might make some of those close losses into wins.
Could be. Yeah.
But Barry,
I
have seen the light. Philip Marshall is back, and he has told me flat out in Philip's Thursday morning musings.
Yes.
That is the biggest non-story that's out there right now.
Done.
There's nothing to this. And John says, good enough for me.
You know, Bear, it's kind of like you said years ago. It's like they're following this line of logic. It's a 24-hour story. This will be dead by tomorrow at lunch.
Talking season.
Yeah.
And I quote, Philip Marshall, senior college football writer, auburnundercover.com. We'll have Jason Caldwell from auburnundercover.com in a minute. Quote, the biggest non-story out there might be about Freeze and his golf games. Believe it or not, coaches don't work 24 hours a day. they find time to get away for a few hours now and then. These days, regardless of where they are, they can be reached at any time or make calls at any time. He says this, and this is kind of cringeworthy. For some, it's playing a round of golf. For others, it's making time for wives and children. Every coach is different. Now, Philip is not saying that Hugh Freeze is playing golf at the expense of spending time with his wife and children.
So
Goodness knows she has stuck.
Oh boy,
no,
you ain't kidding.
I'm just saying it's difficult to be a coach's wife, just as it is difficult to be a broadcaster.
Yeah, it is. It is difficult. Now, I've never had
So
a burner
he's not
phone,
saying
but
they're
yeah.
mutually exclusive. That Hugh every morning has got the bag over his shoulder and saying, should I go make this 7:30 tea time or should I spend time with the wives and children? He's not saying that at all.
Really,
he's just saying everybody chooses to use their leisure time.
That is true.
In different ways.
Now, I got to tell you, Barry, I thought the same thing when I first read it. I had to read it again, thinking, is that what he really means? But that's what I first thought when I read it. So I'm with you. I'm leaning more that way.
Yeah.
That's going on. But yeah,
it eased John's mind
did.
about it. Golly, is this a big story? Do I need to go in depth into it? Is this an issue? When
I don't think so.
When they lose by a late field goal to Baylor, is it because he played an extra round of golf over the Auburn University Club back in July?
Now,
I don't know. Philip says, John, don't worry about it. Well, he says it to everybody,
sure,
but he really means it to
now,
John.
Barry, I cannot sit here today on Thursday, June the 26th, from the Montgomery Regional Airport and tell you with a straight face, I might not bring this up. Say if things don't go well in Waco. I cannot say that today. I hope I don't have to. I'm pulling for them.
We're still talking about Tuberville duck hunting. And Terry Bowden is short, and
James Taylor concert.
Yeah, James Taylor concerts.
Yeah.
And
had Bowden already gone 20-0 when he did that, or was he in the middle of that run?
No, he was. He had already gone 20-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want to make sure.
And all of a sudden, you lose a few, and people start caring that he didn't know the names of his players.
Well, I thought
and
you
then
made a
people
good.
started caring that
you,
he had a helicopter come and take him to the James Taylor concert at Oak Mountain.
I thought you made an excellent point, which you are prone to do multiple times a day. In the write-up about our program on yellowhammernews.com yesterday.
Oh, love those guys.
They pointed out that you said something to the effect, you play all the golf you want as long as you win it, which is true. I mean, Saban was known to hit the practice tee at North River quite regularly. Saban was also quite known to play golf in like 2 hours. He was no dilly-dallying, no fiddle farting around.
Oh,
Saban,
let's get a couple of those out of here. Another dilly-dally, Terrence. You'll like it.
So, yeah, if you're winning, you can go to as many duck hunting trips and James Taylor concerts as you want.
But you lose a late game because, I don't know, your quarterback fumbles when he's driving for that go-ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter. You know some of those fans out there. Heck, you may be some of those fans out that say, see, he wouldn't have fumbled if Freeze had been teaching him how to hang on to the football instead of going out and playing golf.
I don't know where you'll see it first. Let me paint this scenario. Say Auburn goes to Waco Friday night, loses by 6, something like that, maybe a field goal. I don't know if it'll be posted quicker on Bodagetter or Tider Insider. Knew he should have been playing all that golf.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know which website's going to post it first, but you know it's coming. And it's like this, Barry. We've talked about it many times. If Bob is killing it out there in the sales world, and it's that Friday afternoon, 4:30 sales wrap-up meeting for the week,
right?
Bob's not there,
or he's running a little bit late,
but Bob's already on his way to the beach, and everybody else is in the meeting, and they're looking. Hey man, where's Bob? Bob's good. Whoa!
Hey, wait a minute. He's supposed to be at this meeting. This was a mandatory meeting. Why don't you call him and tell him to get his rear end over here? No, I think
Bob's good.
I think I'll let Bob slide.
Yeah.
So the last thing we need is to tick Bob off and him to go work for our competition.
Yeah, I think Bob's halfway to Gulf
Uh-huh.
Shores. Don't worry
It's
about it.
difficult to do this segment here from the Montgomery Regional Airport up on the second floor for one reason only. It's because all the security people at TSA are nodding their
they
heads and I got a thumbs up. And yeah. People are speaking truth over here. Yep.
Speaking of that, do get your TSA pre-check, Barry. It's offered here at Montgomery Regional Airport. Very convenient.
Yep.
You zip through the TSA line. The thing I love about it, Barry, I got to take off my shoes or my belt. I don't like putting my belt back on if I don't have to.
And the shoes,
yeah.
John doesn't wear socks, so the bare feet on the floor has never been. I mean, he could. Yeah.
I did have to take my shoes off in Mexico. Woo! Standing on that mat, got my hands up in the air when that circling circles around. I went, ooh, how many people have stepped on the floor?
There's such a thing as foot sanitizer. We'll take a break right here. Again, we're at the Montgomery Regional Airport on the second floor.
Yes,
Come up and see us with the beautiful natural light behind us. Everything is getting underway here. People are starting to get to their flights. Some of them are, getting prepared to get the kids in line here. A lot of activity.
Hey, if anybody wants to bring me some of that Dunkin' Donuts coffee, I'm good.
Yeah, John's already empty. So, time to fill it up again. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight here from the Montgomery Regional Airport. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
July the 7th is your last chance to take advantage of below employee pricing. Save thousands until July 7th at Stivers Ford in Montgomery. Up to $19,000 off new 2024 F-150s. That's up to $11K below employee pricing. Up to $15,000 off new 2024 Expeditions. That's up to $9K below employee pricing. And up to $11,000 off new 2024 Broncos. That's up to $8K below employee pricing. Take advantage of these and so many more offers during this incredible tariff buster pricing sale going on until July 7th at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, 4000 Eastern Boulevard.
On the basketball court, the soccer pitch, or even the golf course, your crew brings their best not just for the win, but for that post-game celebration. When victory tastes like Michelob Ultra, it's worth every drop of sweat. And if you don't win, you'll still get the beer. It's just on you. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. About 18 minutes past the hour on this beautiful Thursday. Great day to travel, great day to fly from Montgomery Regional Airport. Getting better the more you use it. Barry mentioned direct nonstop flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Washington's Reagan National Airport, where you can make connections to points all over the globe. Very convenient, very economical. The only way to travel is through MGM. Now, I see Dennis Mitchell has been mentioned on the River Region Straw chat line today, Barry. Has Dennis chimed in? Because I got some big news that Dennis is going to want to hear.
He has not chimed in yet. He has been called for because he has not. And there is news out there. This is from Terrence. He says, question for Barry. With the pending expectation for Texas State to leave the Sun Belt for the Pac-12, I wonder, would the Sun Belt just stand pat and the remaining members get more in payouts, whether that continues? It's not the Pac-12 like we've remember the Pac-12. It ain't USC and UCLA and Arizona State, Washington Washington State, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty much cobbled together. Like I said, if you're west of the Mississippi and you got a state in your name, you're fair game. Colorado State, Utah State, Fresno State, Boise State, Texas State. It's going to happen.
Yep.
They want Texas State. It's a beautiful place. It's near two big markets in San Antonio and Austin. So it's going to happen. What do they do? The Sun Belt is I think the last Division 1A conference that still has divisions, East Division,
Oh, okay.
West Division. So
Yeah.
people are saying, well, Texas State would leave. That would put a need in the West. Not necessarily so. My buddy Jason Jones, although I love my trips to San Marcos, we'll go there for football this year. Jason's a little salty about it.
Doesn't
He
like
says,
it.
good riddance to the most underperforming team in the Sun Belt. Texas State was an embarrassment, and they'll go broke with their new travel expenses. Doesn't he sound like the Ben Affleck character in Dazed and Confused in the pool table? You're an embarrassment to the game, and you should be thanking your lucky stars I let you play with me.
Who was that model that was the kicker for Texas State?
Kathy Ireland.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
that was Necessary Roughness.
I mean, it
with
was.
Sinbad, with the guy from Quantum Leap.
That's right.
You know, it was
Yeah.
great.
And
And Kathy Ireland.
And I believe the head coach was some character actor that's been in like 100 movies, but I can't think of his name.
I can't either.
So
Okay.
so I saw that about Texas State.
Well, here's what'll happen, and that will happen. They'll go to the Pac-12 or whatever it's called.
Which consists of who? Oregon State, Washington State, and who?
Fresno State, Texas, Colorado State, Utah State, Boise State. There's a couple of other states in there. That kind of.
So this Texas State is located between San Antonio and Austin.
Yes. Well, not necessarily between it, but they're about the same distance from both.
Okay.
You can fly in from either Austin.
So
or
it's kind
San
of in the
Antonio.
middle of nowhere. I mean, San Marcos.
It's beautiful though. It's a
Big
beautiful
area?
place. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's not as big as Montgomery. Maybe 90,000. Right on the Guadalupe River. It is beautiful.
Okay.
And they got a big campus. It's 30,000, something like that. But Jason's kind of right. They've never really done much of, in football. Although I can't figure out why. Goodness knows they got tons of great high school football all the way around.
Didn't a former Auburn quarterback play there?
TJ Finley.
TJ Finley.
How in the world, how John categorized this thing? TJ Finley played there for 1 year.
Yeah. But we'll always go down and say former Auburn quarterback.
Once an Aub, always an Aub.
Yeah.
What they would do, I think Louisiana Tech, just because it's conveniently located. It's about 30 miles from ULM. It's about 100 miles away from Louisiana, Lafayette. It's about, 120 miles away from Hattiesburg, so I think that would be it. They've been a little snooty, like Abe Froman, the sausage king of Chicago. But, we're too good to be in a. That's what Jason's talking about when they said they'll probably pull some loser from Conference USA. Well, that would be Louisiana Tech. So I don't know that it's done. The thing that I think everybody needs to remember is what's going on with, the Pac-12 trying to get itself back together and, with all of the conference realignment isn't over with. And whatever happens in the Sun Belt is going to be temporary.
Yes.
Whatever happens, heck, I still believe, partially anyway, that the makeup of the SEC is still temporary. Don't you? Are you? I don't know. Satisfied? Are you satisfied with 16? Does it need to be more? If it is more, because I honestly think, it wouldn't surprise me if the SEC's not done, and moving closer towards the big boy conference.
Yeah. And if you go in that route, I do think that's coming.
Did you see him perk up when I said big?
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
A couple of things. I do think we're going to a big boy conference. Am I going to want any royalties off that? I got some legal people working on it. Because that came up 25 years ago, and people thought I was crazy when I brought it up.
They can't call it the BBC for two reasons.
Yeah.
Number one, there's already a television entity
That's
in Europe
right.
that's called the BCC.
I watch Law and Order on BBC on Mondays.
Number two,
Yeah.
the BBC could be misconstrued as standing for the Blue Blood Conference.
Well, they could too.
And that's what John's worried about, because some of the teams in the Big Boy Conference still, in his mind, haven't really made blue blood status.
or big boy status for that matter. So yeah, I do think I could see a day of the Big Ten, the SEC kind of coming together, big boy conference, whatever you want. To your original question, do I think the SEC is going to expand any further? I think that's cooled, Barry. I do. I'm not opposed to it. I just think it's cooled down a little bit because I'm wondering, who do they want? I mean, I think North Carolina is number one. I think that's the team. They love the program, that they'd love to get into this league just because of the footprint, getting into that market. Charlotte's a big market as well. The whole state's got a lot going for it. But who's their partner? Who's coming with them?
Got to be an even number.
I'm not sold on Clemson. I think South Carolina would kick and scream to keep them out. I think South Carolina loves having the SEC to themselves. I think Florida's the same way with Florida State. What do those two schools bring to the conference financially? I know it's an extreme long shot, but I would make Notre Dame tell me no. Sankey made this big deal about all of our schools, the states join, the contiguous states. Well, Indiana touches Kentucky. That logic fits. I just seem like it's cool.
It's like extreme South Indiana versus extreme North Indiana.
But it still touches. I think it'll be interesting, Barry, at media days in a couple of weeks in Atlanta. If that question, I know it will be.
No doubt.
It's going to be brought up again. What the answer to that's going to be. Probably big boy conference stuff will be brought up as well. And I thought about this earlier this week. Is there going to be any big shocking news coming out of media days like we had a couple of years in Birmingham with Texas and Oklahoma, the expanded playoff, stuff like that? I wonder if that's, all this stuff about 9-game conference schedules, all this other stuff we've been hearing all throughout the spring, kind of gotten quiet. Is it going to resurface in Atlanta in a couple of weeks?
What could it be? I do think so. Number one, to answer to tag team with John on is there going to be some sort of big announcement? It usually is. It is the SEC's time. I mean, their national time. ESPN's all over it. SEC Network's all over it. National media covering it. All the big.
Longshore McKnight being there. That ought to tell you enough.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
But so they want to, command the sporting public's consciousness during the entirety of the SEC media days. B, justify the networks spending all their time covering this. And with both of those in mind, C, they want to give them something. They're not going to, how should I say this? The SEC network and ESPN Sports Center isn't dedicating all of these resources and all of these man hours and all of this technology and all of the broadcasters and technicians and camera people to that one location just so you can hear Mississippi State head coach Jeff Levy talk about his team's going to take it one game at a time.
Yeah.
They need something.
Yeah.
If Sankey has got something that he's working on or something that he's prepared to announce, he ain't announcing it at spring meetings. He's not announcing it at the Birmingham Quarterback Club. He's not even probably going to announce it on Longshore and McKnight.
Well, he'd be smart, he would.
But if he does have something, he's going to save it, John. So with that in mind, I do expect something. I don't know how big is in the eye of the beholder, but I do think there's going to be something that's going to come out of that.
I do too.
That will sink our teeth into.
So, Barry, while we're in Atlanta for media days, begins on Monday the 14th, I believe is the day.
I think so.
Wraps up on Thursday. I do have a tentative tea time Tuesday afternoon. I know that's Auburn's day, but I think they're early in the morning. If Coach Freeze wants to play that afternoon, I think I could squeeze him in.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm the guest of the guy I'm playing with. So I hate to be, hey, man, I know you invited me, but is it okay if Coach Freeze comes and plays with us too?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Just tell him to wear shoes.
When we come back, lots to catch up on with Jason Caldwell. Had evidently a really nice vacation last week. We're glad to have him back on the other side of this break from auburnundercover.com to answer a lot of questions, give us a lot of insight. Coming up next, we're live at the Montgomery Regional Airport. John Longshore, Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
The following is a message from the Bud Light Party.
July 4th is the most demanding holiday of the year. Justine just wants a half. Alex needs a hot dog without a bun. And Rose says her homemade veggie burgers taste just like the real thing. So this July 4th, stock up on a sure thing. Bud Light. It's a 4th of July fixture everyone can agree to agree on. This message approved by the Bud Light Party. Raise one to right now. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
Already back at it, about 28 minutes to the top of the hour. As Barry mentioned, we're live at the Montgomery Regional Airport, getting better the more you use it. Also, Barry, need to let our viewers and our listeners know Monday, the 7th of July. That is the end of below employee pricing out at Stivers Ford here in Montgomery. We'll be there tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Folks, you got to take advantage of below employee pricing. Tariff busters everywhere on the lot. But I'm telling you, when July 8th rolls around, below employee pricing is over. And we don't want to hear it that we didn't tell you, because we're telling you now.
Yep, come on by tomorrow when we're out there. That'd be a good idea. Here at the Montgomery Regional Airport, joined by Jason Caldwell, auburnundercover.com. Jason, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, guys. How about y'all?
Pretty good. Give me a quick rating on the Hershey Museum. Worth the time? Seems like it would be, right?
It was really good. You know, obviously
Yeah.
when you have a young one with you and get to see that. Now there's an amusement park on the other side that we didn't go see, but we did see the Hershey World and happened to be in line while you make your own candy bar a couple of three or 4 feet away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. while we were there. He was there. I guess the race was in the Poconos. Didn't know that, but he was there with his wife and kids, and so I had a chance to tell him that I was from a few miles down the road from Talladega, but then I left him alone and let him kind of enjoy his time. But yeah, so got to make a candy bar with Dale Earnhardt Jr. While we were there. So
Is there anything better than a Hershey's chocolate bar? I mean, really. I mean, I'm a chocolate freak. I got to tell you, I love a piece of chocolate. Man, Hershey is I'm taking a soft one.
For somebody in the South that you don't realize Hershey and what it is, like it is not Disney, World, but it is like Dollywood on steroids. I mean, there's an entire amusement park and all those things, and so it's a pretty neat place to visit.
Yeah. All right. Question of a timely nature here. Surprised that Janai Broome didn't get drafted last night in the NBA draft, and do you expect him to go tonight?
Yeah, no, not surprised he didn't get picked last night. I think he'll go tonight somewhere. But yeah, no, I'm not surprised he didn't go last night. We've been talking about he's a really good college basketball player.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of really good college football players that it didn't quite translate to the NFL either. And I think that's just the case for him. I think he's an old school player that doesn't fit the way the game's played now. First of all, they're not a whole lot of back to the basket guys in the NBA. That's not what they do. And I think he's probably a guy that to play the way he needs to play, he probably needs to be 7'2" with a bigger wingspan, all that stuff. He's just not quite big enough to be a classic center. And then probably not quite. I think people confuse the terms. They confuse the terms athleticism and explosiveness. John Broom's really athletic. I was pretty athletic too, but I wasn't explosive. And I think that's the thing I think Broom's a really athletic guy, but he's not explosive and doesn't play above the rim. I think that's probably the difference for him too. I think that, to be able to play on the perimeter, guys his size in the NBA now are guys that are handling the ball, shooting threes, doing stuff. And, that's just not his game.
I'm trying to look at the teams remaining out there, just trying to figure out where he would be the best fit. I mean, I'm no NBA, draft pundit or whatnot, and what team needs what needs, but just trying to figure out. Obviously, it's easier with the first 5 or 6 guys that get picked in the draft, but as you get down here, I've just kind of been wondering what would be the best fit, or wonder what team's really interested in his skill set.
Yeah, in the second round too, there's no guarantee you even make a roster in the NBA in the second round nowadays, and so it might be just a team going, hey, we feel like this guy has a chance to come in and help us. So it might not be specifically a need-based thing for somebody like that. But so
have you been surprised at the career that Kessler's had in the NBA?
No, length. And he is a guy that can play. So I think, you start thinking about it. For me, I don't know that either one of them have a long career. But because of that, Dylan Cardwell is a guy that may actually have a chance to have a career in the NBA, maybe longer, because of a specialized skill, being able to defend, run the court, and switch and play defense. In that regard, he's probably more similar to Walker Kessler a little bit, and he's not as long as Walker was. But I think Dylan Cardwell can do the same things. He might have a chance to do that because of a specialized skill, maybe even more than Jani Broom down the road.
Jason, should there be any concern? Should there be any panic to the people who log on to auburnundercover.com and hear the recruiting news about a couple of flips last week? Is there a commonality in the reason why those guys backed out of the commitment to Auburn and went elsewhere? And what's the next step for those guys who are still committed? Are there any worries, I guess, in your mind?
I mean, I think it's right now it's really difficult to make people or help people understand how much different this world is than the one that we've always grown up with. Because there's so many factors that go into it now. It's not just, hey, go out and sign 25 guys. That's not how this thing works anymore. I think Auburn's in a really difficult spot this moment because, first of all, it's no secret. Normally, and I've said it the last couple of years, wins and losses didn't really matter. I think now it starts to matter. So I think now you look at it and go, year 3, you need to win more games. So I think that has a factor. That's part of this. I don't think that's what all this is because these guys were already committed before this season ever started. I think the other part of this is how you're preparing for the future. Meaning right now, today, if you're these teams, you have to be thinking what your 2026 roster is going to look like because you have no choice because it's all about a salary cap. So if you're Auburn, you have to take care of the guys that you believe are going to be key pieces on your roster next season. And Auburn has chosen to make those guys a priority. So if you look at it and you go, who's a priority right now? Is it the guys you're recruiting, and hey, they're going to be important parts of this. But I think it's common sense now to go, who's more valuable, a guy who's done it on this level or a high school guy? So I think Auburn's going to look. So you start looking at it. I went and looked the other day. There's only 13 seniors on this roster, and then obviously you have Keldrick Falk, and you have Connor Liu and Kay and Lee, and you have some guys who could very well be gone after this year. But that's a whole lot of guys that you're having to account for 2026.
Right.
And so right now you can do it. There's 50 ways to do it, but I've said I think it's worse now than it's ever been in the way things are working. People are like, oh, you start to get a salary cap, it helps. I think it's worse because last summer at least you knew there were no rules. Hey, do whatever you want to. The only limit is how much money you can spend. Now, some people are still playing that way. Some people are still playing it. Well, we got a salary cap. Here it is. And some people are in the middle. So now it's rules, but are there really rules? Are they really going to be enforced? Is it really going to happen? Now it's the Wild Wild West, but, well, there could be rules. We don't know yet. So I think Auburn has chosen to play it pretty conservative and going, look, we believe this is what's going to happen in December when this thing rolls around. And so because of that, it probably costs you some in June on the short end. We'll see.
I mean, right now, Jason, does it really matter where you're ranked? I mean, there's a lot of time between now and payday, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of things are going to change. A lot of people have brought Florida's situation into the mix and what happened to them last year. I mean, there again, if this was going on during the regular season in October, it wouldn't even be a story. But Here it is into June, nothing else is happening. So boom, this is squarely in the crosshairs.
Yeah, and you're right. I think you go out and you win and you take care of games, and that takes care of some of this. Right. Some of this was already going to be a smaller class. And I kind of compared a little bit to Auburn baseball in a sense of Auburn baseball just finished a really good year. And you look at it and you go, okay, what do you need in recruiting? Well, the first thing you need in recruiting, the most important recruits you have are the guys that are on your current roster that have eligibility. Chris Rembert, Bub Terrell, Chase Fralick, and these young pitchers. The same thing holds true in football. I think you look at it, you start going, Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons, all those guys, those are the most important guys you have now. There's some rosters that are older that, you think about the potential draft picks off of teams. Most of those guys are guys that probably are going to be juniors and sophomores this year from this team, meaning they have eligibility remaining. So it's going to be maybe, and we'll see if it might change. Maybe things change, but right now it sure feels like that playing time is going to be more valuable than ever. Obviously, winning programs don't have that to factor in as much. But for the last 2 years, Auburn's had playing time. Look, come here, you're going to play. There's still going to be that option, but there's less of that available, in my opinion, now than there was 2 years ago. I think that factors in as well.
Is there a backstory? I know you've written a piece at AuburnUndercover.com about what Auburn is getting from that big New Zealander. What's the backstory on Nico Heppy?
Yeah. Nico Heppy is, even though it looks like Nico Heppy is a guy that Auburn has had a good relationship with the Pro Kick Australia folks, obviously, and then they've started, the NFL kind of Asia Pacific production where they're starting to kind of get some guys that played rugby and start to work with them in terms of real football too. And so this is a guy that started to get a little buzz because he put a tape online, and you look at him, he's 6'7", 360 almost, and they were doing some NFL type offensive line drills, and you go, that looks pretty interesting. Well, when they decided, hey, we're going to make a tour of the U.S., Auburn was like, hey, we would really like for you to come by and come to camp. He did it at Florida State. They offered, comes to Auburn, camps, Auburn offers. And I think Auburn said, look, you haven't played a football game yet, but we've seen enough that we believe there's enough there. He was 6'7.5", 372, I believe, is what he was. And we got a chance to see him in person, myself and Christian Clemente. He doesn't move like that. He has really good feet. He's really athletic, background of rugby. So this is a guy that can move. And so you start looking at it. Now this is a different situation, but these are the types of things that Auburn had not done prior to Hugh Freeze and Jake Thornton being here, which is you're not going to get all 5-star offensive linemen. You have to go sign guys who are big enough and athletic enough to be that guy in hopes that they turn out. That's what this is. He's a guy that has the ability, I believe, to be an NFL offensive lineman. Is that going to be in 2026? No, it's not going to be then. But I do think he's a guy that has a chance to be a huge upside prospect for you. But on the offensive line, you have to sign those guys. You're not going to sign 4 offensive linemen a year and all 4 of them work out. That's just not the way it is. Alabama and Georgia have signed a bunch of really good offensive linemen over the years. They've also missed on a bunch of guys they signed too, because that's just the nature of the position. So another opportunity to get a guy on campus and see if you can develop him.
Jason, we all know that recruiting can be ruthless in the SEC. Programs will do just whatever they can to convince a guy to come play for them. I had read some accounts over the last week that some schools out there are using Hugh Freeze's health concerns as a reason for these players not to go to Auburn. If you heard that, is there any substance to that?
I mean, I haven't heard it specifically, but would I be surprised that happened? No. I mean, it's been this coach is retiring. He's getting old. He's not going to coach anymore. I wouldn't go there if I was you. I mean, everything is used and it's all on the table. I'm sure, but you know what? In today's world, if that's something that impacts you, then you might need to go somewhere anyway, because you can leave after 1 year anyway. It don't matter. So there's nothing holding anyone. That's part of the issue right now, is that you're dealing with unrestricted free agency across the board. So, this is not the NFL. At least the NFL, in theory, there's a contract holding somebody there till you let him go. Right now, there's no contract. There's nothing holding anyone. And every year you have to basically renegotiate every contract you have almost. And so it's just a really, really difficult world. But I'd be surprised if people are doing that. No, but I think that's just the nature of what we deal with.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you one more question, and then we'll let you go, Jason. It's kind of a follow-up to something I read on the website. Summer workouts are going on. You have said, I want to say since on our show or in association with us, ever since he was maybe a high school junior at Highland Home, that you were really impressed with Keldrick Falk. I understand that it's been accounted for here. Great player, definite pro future and all that, but he has kind of emerged even more as more of a kind of a team leader, a tone setter. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I think he's been that way, and it's interesting because he's not the most outgoing rah-rah guy. That's not who he is. But you look at him, and I think it's been work ethic. It's been the things he's done off the field that have done that. And I think it started when he was a freshman. You look at it and go, there was things he needed to learn, but he came on and played. And then last year he took his game to another level. And then after the season, he had some things cleaned up. So he missed a lot of the spring. But this summer, hearing that he's just been a different guy. And so I saw him around a few weeks ago, and he walked by and he looked like a power forward. But then I talked to somebody, said, look, he weighs 283. He's actually gained weight. So he's trimmed down, but he's bigger and stronger. Since I saw him the first time, my envisioning upside for him was Julius Peppers. That's who I thought he was. Now he looks more and more like Julius Peppers. And last year when he had 7.5 sacks, I think Keldrick Falk is a guy that's a double-digit sack guy at 6'6", 280 plus. And when you have that guy, then it's a difference maker for a defensive line. And so I think he has a chance to be that guy.
Man, great insight and analysis each and every week. We greatly appreciate it. Jason, before we let you go, let our viewers and listeners know how they can get more info from you. Where do they need to go?
Yeah, check us out, auburnundercover.com, part of 24/7 Network. And got lots of things going on, obviously, as we gear up towards here the 4th. Got some recruiting that's still happening. I think Auburn is in the mix for some guys here the next few weeks. It'll be interesting to see how that happens. But some basketball thoughts from Nathan King as we head into this. I'll have some football things as well. Start some position previews this week because we're just over a month away from them starting practice. So start to kind of get a look at some actual real football, which is exciting to think about. So we'll have some of that as well at auburnundercover.com, and follow me at ITAT Jason.
All right, so Barry and I get an early jump on the 4th of July next week, Jason. So we'll catch up with you in 2 weeks. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Buddy, thank
very
you.
much. Jason Caldwell, auburnundercover.com, joining us, making a candy bar with Dale Jr.
I'm telling
How
you.
many of you had that on your Jason Caldwell bingo card on his visit today?
Find me another chocolate bar that's as good as a Hershey.
Do
I'm
you
telling
ever
you.
remember
Love 'em.
what they used to call the whatchamacallit?
Yes, had Rice Krispie stuff in it.
I don't know why they don't do that anymore. You had the whatchamacallit, you had the $100,000 bar. I can't find them anymore.
Nah, and a Hershey's Kiss, a little wrapped up in the foil.
Yeah.
They're big around Christmas because you get them in the silver, green, and red. Wrapped up, looks great for a decoration.
Yeah.
So, I think we just let the cat out of the bag. We'll tell you more about that next week, next Thursday. We're going to get an early jump on the 4th. You should too if you can. But when we return, I see Dennis Mitchell on the chat, Barry. I've been waiting for Dennis to get on the chat. I got some news. I know he's going to want to hear. You will too when we return from the Montgomery Regional Airport.
Getting better the more you use it. FlyMGM.com and travel above. Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light. Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Pepper Tree Center next to Chappie's Deli in Montgomery, Alabama. Marianne is with us from Marguerite's. Marianne, here we are in the middle of summer. I know a lot of people like to spend summertime kind of cleaning things out and getting things out of their house. Marguerite's is a perfect place for those people who want to sell their jewelry or at least, maybe their silver or their platinum or something like that. You guys can take care of that at Marguerite's. Am I right?
Most definitely. You can get a little extra vacation cash or just a little fun money to go along because the cost of gold is up now, like record highs. So take advantage of that. Come into Marguerite's, and if you're not sure if it is gold, platinum, or silver or not, just come in. We are happy to look at it. There's no charge. There's no obligation. Just bring in your precious metals, and we can tell you, we test it and let you know. We weigh it. We give you an amount. So, again, like broken chains or random, like cluster ring that you're not the biggest fan of, just bring it in. We'll take it and give you a value. And we give you times and a half if you decide to use it as in-store credit. So if you find something pretty while we're weighing or testing your jewelry, then guess what? You've got way more going towards it than you have before.
I can imagine that some people kind of put that type of thing off or are a little bit intimidated because they don't really know what to do. They don't have a friend in the jewelry business. And I've always said at Marguerite, you always have a friend in the jewelry business. The process is painless, and you're ensured that you're going to get the top dollar for the value of your piece, right?
Most definitely. We update our market and metal values daily. We will weigh it 100% honest. There's no appointment needed. That's a question that I get asked a lot too. So you don't have to call ahead. You don't have to make an appointment. We're open 7 days a week in Pepper Tree. You just have to come through the door, and there'll always be somebody with a smile to help you sort your jewelry and get the amount that you're due.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun later on that when you've gone through that process and you smile at yourself when you're at the beach or you're on vacation somewhere with that extra cash and say, boy, I'm glad I left that up to the professionals at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. What's their first step, Marianne? Just walk through?
Exactly. Just walk through the door. Bring your stuff. Again, if you're not sure if it's costume, no worries. We'll take it from there.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Pepper Tree Center next to Chappie's Deli on Vaughn Road in Montgomery, Alabama. Marianne, always a pleasure. Thanks for the time.
Thanks.
Okay, a couple of minutes to the top of the hour. Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, is scheduled to join us, brought to you exclusively, excuse me, by the Destin Connection Seafood Market, the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf into Montgomery each and every day. Call David and his staff today, 288-4272. Your order will be ready for pickup. And hey, 4th of July coming up next week, you want to want plenty of that fresh Gulf seafood at your home or your beach party, lake party, wherever it may be. Destin Connection Seafood Market. Speaking of that, quickly before I get to what I want to tell Dennis, I told you that I'd seen on like Google Maps, it says Gulf of America. If you go to Google Maps.
I had a buddy of mine who was in Great Britain somewhere, and he was on Google Maps.
Yep.
And in Great Britain, it shows up as the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, in the U.S., it says Gulf of America. On my flight from Mexico City back to Atlanta last week, they have the screens and the seat backs that are in front of you. And I'm watching.
So you can tell like airspeed,
yes,
elevation.
Well, we actually had live TV, and I actually was watching the U.S. bomb Iraq at 37,000 feet, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
But,
nothing like watching explosions while you're on a plane, that's for sure.
But the map you're talking about, Barry, exactly. It shows your route. And we kind of had to avoid some storms, so we kind of went around a different way a little bit. But where the Gulf of Mexico is, on a Delta flight, over the Gulf of Mexico, it said Gulf of America. And in quotations, it said Mexico. I thought, wow. Even on an airplane, they call it Gulf of America. Never thought I'd see that. All right, here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
All right, Dennis, you ready? Because I know you've been wondering, you've been asking, you've been chatting about it. The deal is the week of July the 7th, which is about a week from this Monday.
Okay.
It's the Monday after the 4th of July.
I have no idea where
we'll be back on the air. We're going to take a couple of days, Thursday and Friday, the 3rd and the 4th of July. Hope that's okay with everybody. We'll be back on Monday the 7th. That week, that's the week prior to SEC football media days.
Correct.
Sometime during that week.
What is this? Let's go. The setup.
Phil Steele will join us. We don't know what day yet, Dennis, but Phil's been a guest of ours 30 years. I mean, when Phil first came out, had a pamphlet before he had his magazine. He was on with John and Barry. That'll happen again that week. So, Dennis, get ready. We'll let you know the exact date and time when it happens. I talked to Chris, to Phil's folks yesterday, Chris Van Dyke, who handles all of that for him. That's the week. So, Dennis, get ready. I did see, it's very interesting, Barry, and it's perfect timing. There was a story earlier today. There are 6 SEC teams ranked ahead of Alabama in Phil Steele's magazine for 2025.
Whoa.
How about that?
What in the world?
Phil doesn't seem to be too high on the tide this fall.
I normally pre-order my Phil Steele, but I'm going to wait and go get it. I think it's at the local Barnes & Noble.
Yep.
They have come out with the Director's Cup.
Oh, I love
I think it's the Learfield Director's Cup, but it's the Director's Cup. And they have come out with the final. The Director's Cup are the top overall athletic programs in the country. And the top 10, which is all I have access to right now, neither Auburn nor Alabama made the cut in the top 10 overall athletic departments. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 SEC teams in the top 10. Final results of the Director's Cup. 2 of those 4 schools in the SEC that finished in the top 10 were not in the SEC last year, including number 1. Texas, for the 4th time in the last 5 years, has won the Director's Cup as the nation's top athletics department in terms of most successful. Some of you yahoos out there, when I pointed this out, or when John pointed it out, are you a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years ago? Are you sure? You want Texas? Are you sure you want that?
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah. Well, bring Texas on. Let them get a little taste of what we are going to bring to them in the SEC. Really? You think so? Yeah, they've won all these games, and, they've always been a disappointment when it gets down to it because they can't hang with the SEC. Yeah, wait till they get a little taste of big boy football instead of the Houstons and the Baylors and all that kind of stuff that they've had before. Well,
they're doing pretty well.
They're number one in the nation. They've won 1 billion SEC titles this year. USC second.
How many sports do they have?
Jillian. Stanford third. North Carolina fourth. There's your team, SEC.
You want to know why they want them in the league?
The second best athletic department competitively in the SEC comes in at number 6. I sound like Casey Kasem.
You do.
The Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee's better than you, Alabama. Tennessee's better than you, Auburn.
Ooh.
Florida is 7th.
That's
The only
tough
other,
to swallow.
Ohio State 8th. Number 9, Oklahoma. Number 10 is Duke. Top athletic departments in the country.
And it
Duke
is,
has done better than Auburn or Alabama.
And it is more than just football, believe it or not, ladies and
It's a
gentlemen.
ton more,
I know there's some people out there that don't understand
Yeah.
that. Barry, I believe I misspoke. I think I said there's 6 SEC teams ranked higher than Alabama. That's not true. There are 6 teams in Phil Steele's preseason magazine that are ranked ahead of Alabama. He's got the Crimson Tide in the 7th spot
overall
in his preseason predictions. 6 other teams ahead of him. Who are they? He's got Penn State at number 1. I hadn't talked to Phil, but somebody else is high on Penn State too. Just saying. Just if you look back at a Memorial Day weekend preseason, or what's going to happen over the next 12 months.
The prognostication.
Somebody mentioned Penn State playing who for the national championship? The team that Phil has at number 2,
The
Clemson
Tigers.
There again, Phil and I have not talked. I've not seen anything that Phil still had to do, but he's got Penn State, Clemson, Notre Dame, who I'm high on them. Their schedule, I think, is very manageable. Texas, Ohio State, Georgia, then Alabama. So I don't really have any issues with Phil's top 7. I don't know who's the 8th team is. We'll wait till Phil joins us the week of July 7th. So Dennis, that was for you. Phil Steele, I know he's you're a big fan of his.
Longshore and McKnight live today from the Montgomery Regional Airport with Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider at TiderInsider.com. Hey, we're talking about the Montgomery Regional Airport being really, really active, being your spot for the 4th of July weekend. How about the Destin Connection? Huh?
Well, you're right about that. Exclusively bringing you Rodney Orr each and every week, the Tider Insider. Make sure you go by the Destin Connection, 3750 Norman Bridge Road, or call ahead 288-4272. Your order will be ready for pickup. You hear me talking about that great grilled grouper pull boy for lunch. I advise you to go by there and pick one up for lunch. It's absolutely fantastic. And if you're planning ahead for the 4th of July, you need some fresh boiled shrimp, some crawfish, some fresh oysters, or whatever it may be. They're a long lineup of great Gulf seafood. Pick it up there. Barry, I've picked it up at the Destin Connection and taken it back to the Gulf Coast. I have actually done that multiple times.
For a lot of that seafood, it's a round trip.
It is a round trip, but I know it's the freshest, and I don't have to hassle with those places down there when I get there. Do it today.
Well, that's for the 4th of July weekend or any time of the Destin Connection. Travel from the Montgomery Regional Airport. Super easy and convenient on the 4th of July weekend. For a lot of people that we know, John, the 4th of July weekend really means one thing. That's the Tider Insider Firecracker 5.
Well, Barry, I know Rodney knew we were going to get to this, but Rodney, we have been inundated with text and chats. Hey, man, don't forget to ask Rodney about the Firecracker 5 coming up this week.
Okay. We had to shoot the fireworks early this year, didn't we? I mean,
yeah.
Normally we do that. Obviously, it's been a tradition for many, many years on TiderInsider.com, the Firecracker 5 on July 4th. And you know what? All these announcements coming this week before the Firecracker 5, I'm like, man, they're not going to leave me with anybody to choose from.
So, you and I talked last week, and you anticipated a big weekend on campus, a big visit weekend on campus. Talk a little bit about some of the late activity late in the month of June before dead period.
Yeah, I mean, they tell me it's pretty epic. The weekend that they had over there, the commitments that are coming from that are going to come from that. I mean, obviously they had a couple of guys already flip. Javari Barnett, the running back out of Tampa, who was here this weekend. Of course, he was committed to Illinois. And I know some Alabama fans say Illinois, Well, look, don't forget now, Brett Bielema, he's produced a ton of running backs. He knows what running backs look like. So he's a good looking player, obviously, Javari Barnett. And then also they had Rafael Kelly, who was committed to Rutgers. He's about a 6'3", maybe close to 6'3 and a half, 180-pound safety out of Winton Woods High School, Cincinnati.
Wow.
And I tell you, when you look at him, he is a former teammate of Justin Hill, who was a 5-star rated player by some last year out of that same school that came to Alabama, chose Alabama over Ohio State. But they did a lot of evaluation on this kid. He's a sub 4.5 guy at 6'3", 180. Speed, a lot of athleticism. He's a good looking player. So, those are two that they picked up. And then since the last time we spoke also on Sunday, J.J. Finch, who is a defensive lineman out of Indianapolis. And I think J.J.'s vastly underrated. I think some of these players that you see Alabama, a few players that they've gotten that maybe fans are going, hey, wait a minute, this is a 3-star. They're going to see those guys rise in the rankings because these rankings really right now are still very preliminary.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Real early in the process. And once again, Rodney, some guys from all over the country. We've talked a lot about this.
Cincinnati.
A lot of people go, what about in-state guys? But I've always been the belief, and we talked about this many, many years ago when Philip Fulmer was doing it at Tennessee. Why does Alabama not expand their footprint in recruiting? Nick Saban proved he could do that. I've just always been a big guy that, hey, I want the best player wherever he lives. I don't care what state he's from.
No doubt. No doubt. And listen, the in-state guys I think are coming. We had couple of really big ones in our Firecracker 5. Obviously, Cedarian Morgan, the 5-star receiver from Benjamin Russell. We feel good about where Alabama is there. That's why we put him in the Firecracker 5. And E.J. Crowell, the running back from Jackson, Alabama. Now, look, that's coming down to Alabama and Texas. Texas is really pushing, still trying here. He announces tonight, Crowell does. 5-star running back he's going to announce on WKRG out of Mobile on their 6 o'clock news tonight live. But he is he's a talented back. I mean, he is really, really good. He reclassified. He's pulling the Ryan Williams here. He should only be going into his junior year. But that shows you how good he is. Texas has really prioritized him. And, of course, several schools have, and obviously Alabama. So be on the listen for that. Now, I'll tell you another one before it skips my mind. Outstanding tight end from Dunlap, Illinois, Max Sutter. He will make his announcement tonight as well. Ooh. I've got Alabama. As we mentioned, there's so many announcements. You can only put 5 in the Firecracker 5.
True.
So the announcement comes tonight, and I did mention in our update, the Firecracker 5 update, that I think Sutter is Alabama. I think he picks Alabama over Ohio State and Illinois.
Man, that would be pretty big.
I remember you
Brett Bielema going to say anything about that?
I remember you telling us a few months back, really at the cusp of the start of interest in this upcoming class, that I believe your phraseology was that the quality of this Alabama class will be determined by the trenches. Right. Has that borne out, Rodney?
Well, we're going to find out. I think J.J. Finch, obviously they have Maury Johnson from Muscle Shoals. I think he's a good prospect that they can really develop. I think Jamarian Matthews, who is originally from Madison Sparkman, now over at Gainesville, Georgia, is another guy that can be really developed. And I think J.J. Finch is a very, very talented kid. I really do. So that's a good start. But here's the problem. Here's the problem. They signed 2 defensive linemen last year. In my opinion, it's just my opinion, you never sign less than 4 defensive linemen. You got to sign them every single year because a lot of things happen. Some guys don't pan out. Some guys transfer. Whatever it is, you cannot get caught short on the defensive line. Go look at what Kirby Smart's doing right now. They're very close to landing the #1 defensive lineman in the country, and they've recruited that position extremely hard. So I say all that to say this. One of the kids that we've mentioned on our previous shows here, Titan Davis out of St. Louis, highly recruited by Alabama. A lot of these internet network sites been predicting him and saying for months and months that Davis was leaning to Alabama. And I said, look, when he goes to Michigan, that's going to be the telltale. He went to Michigan 24 hours later, he committed to them. So now you're down another defensive lineman. There's some guys out there, Elijah Golden out of Sarasota. Watch him. It's Alabama, Notre Dame. After his Notre Dame visit this past weekend, kind of thought maybe he's trending to Notre Dame, but we still haven't heard anything from him. At least I hadn't since late last night. So Alabama's still in there. Another key guy, Nolan Wilson. I can't imagine that Alabama won't get Nolan Wilson from Pecune, Mississippi for as long as they've been recruiting him. But Miami's making a strong push. Auburn's been in there. A few others. Ole Miss, certainly. They really want him badly. Okay, so then the big guy is, and I say this because he's an in-state 5-star, is Anthony Tank Jones down at Mobile St. Paul's. And he's a guy that I think is going to grow. He's about 250 now. He's going to grow into a defensive lineman. And I think I give Alabama the edge here. I think Alabama is in good position, but he is highly recruited. Auburn, Oregon, Texas A&M, Miami, you name it. So I say all that to say they're still in position, but they're going to have to close the deal on the defensive line. Offensive line, they've got a couple of really good ones. Chris Booker out of Atlanta and Sam Utu out of Orange, California. They need another one. Malachi Lee, it's probably some of your listeners right now. They're probably saying, what about Malachi Lee? He's supposed to announce tomorrow. I'm afraid that Malachi Lee's probably going to end up elsewhere. I know that Michigan, Texas, Georgia, those seem to be the ones that are most prominent with him, although he did have a great visit to Alabama. I just don't know that he's going to end up here.
Rodney, Barry and I were talking about this earlier in the week. Who is the closer for this Alabama staff?
Well, I think they have multiple guys that I would consider closers. And again, sometimes it takes a little time, and I'm saying a couple, 2 or 3 recruiting classes to really get a feel for who is the bell cow, right? But I think obviously DeBoer does a great job when it ultimately, he puts the seal on it. But I think Courtney Morgan, I really give a lot of credit to him. I think he's a closer. I would say that as I'm thinking about it, Mo Lindquist, the cornerbacks coach, big time closer, I think. And I'm sure I don't want to just randomly throw out names like I'm doing, but again, I think it's for the most part, I'm not going to say all of them, but for the most part, I think they've got a really good recruiting staff. But again, every staff, as you guys know, when I say that, people might take that negatively. Staffs are made up of different strengths and weaknesses and all that kind of stuff. Every staff, one guy might be a little bit better coach, and the other guy might be a, ace recruiter. I mean, let's just be honest. If you want an example, you remember Tosh LaPoy, great recruiter. As a coach, well, he was solid. He was actually a pretty good linebackers coach. Now, he wasn't a defensive coordinator.
Right.
I'll be honest with you.
Fair point.
Yeah, excellent point.
Yeah.
All right, just to make sure, because we certainly don't want to wrap up with you and miss any names. I know you've mentioned a couple of them. You mentioned Sedarian Morgan, the 5-star wide receiver. You mentioned the running back Croywell from down in the Mobile area. Just to make sure, what about have we talked about 3-star wide receiver Brian Williams Jr.?
Like Brian Williams Jr., he just left Lake Mary, Florida. He's going over to a new school, the First Academy in Orlando. He's about 6'3" and a half, 180 pounds, 185, really good speed. He has two of the critical factors, and probably more, but two of the main critical factors, I think, for DeBoer, Grubb, Jamarcus Shepard, that is height and the ability to stretch the field deep. That's what they look for. And he has those things. Alabama, Florida, Notre Dame's been in there very strong, Penn State. But I feel good about Alabama right here with him. And before I miss it, you might have been going to mention him, John, but just in case, another guy we had in the Firecracker Five, Xavier Griffin, out of Gainesville, Georgia, five-star linebacker. He is, again, I said a couple of weeks ago, when he visits Texas, watch out. They're gonna really come after him. And they did, and they have. But again, talking to my Texas sources last night and some other people, I continue to think Xavier Griffin, that Alabama's in a good position with him, and he announces on the 29th, which I think is Sunday.
Yes, I believe that is. Just to make sure, Jariah Edwards, the five-star safety.
Yeah, Jariah Edwards out of Baltimore, and he's really good. And now he's the one guy that announces after the 4th. He announces on July 5th, and feel good about Alabama. Now he might be the number one safety in the country. He's 6'2", he's 205. He had 90+ tackles last year, 17 tackles for losses. Really productive guy. A lot of pass breakups. So, but I feel good about Alabama there. Obviously Georgia has been in there, and Auburn, and several others. But I feel good about Alabama right now.
I think that's going to make some of our listeners and chatters and texters happy to hear what you have to say as well. I'm just happy we could get them all to you today, because I didn't want to hear.
Let me mention another one, John and Barry.
Okay.
I want to mention one. Yeah. I want you guys to mark this name down, because I think let's go back a ways. Let's go back to when Franchione was here. There was a kid at John had a lot of epic shows back in those times. There was a kid at Bessemer, Jess Lanier, and this is a true story. I'm going to share the story with you. I was tipped off, you got to watch this kid. He might be and this was coming from Coach Robert Higginbotham at County High, who played at Alabama. I thought he was one of the great high school coaches. He is in the history of Alabama. But he said, you got to watch this guy. He's a linebacker. Said, I don't know his name, but he's number 32 for Jess Lanier. So I watched him that Friday night. He made 32 tackles, or 27 tackles, whatever it was. And I'm like, whoa. And so I write his name down on a piece of paper, size, name, school, all this kind of thing. When Franchione had his, the weekly press conference, whatever he had it on Monday or Tuesday at the time, I can't remember. Franchione comes, he's leaving the Naylor Stone media room there. And I said, Coach Fran, I handed him that paper. And I said, you need to look at this guy. So he says, okay, thank you. And he walks out. Next thing I know is I hear somebody calling my name. It's Coach Fran asking me to step out in the hallway. And he says, Rodney, he says, D'Amico Ryans, 6'2", 220, Jess Lanier. I said, that's him, Coach. And he said, are you sure he's 6'2", 220? And I said, Coach, I'm sure. I said, 27 tackles the other night. And he said, well, we've got him at 5'11", 195. I said, Coach, you way behind on that one.
Yeah, maybe in middle school.
Hey, the following Saturday, guess who was invited down for a visit?
Yeah.
D'Amico Ryans. He got an offer that day and eventually picked Alabama. He was headed somewhere else, Mississippi State, somewhere else. And so I say that to say this. There's a kid right now that has some incredible measurables. He's a really good player. He was injured a lot last year. Tuscaloosa Hillcrest. Guy named Zay Hall.
Yeah.
Zay Hall. He's 6'2".
Zay Hall.
He's 6'2". He's 237 pounds. And he ran a 4.55 at Bama's camp. And Jamie Mitchell, the head coach over at Hillcrest, won a lot of state championships over in Mississippi. Tremendous high school coach, knows what he's looking at. He told us this week, he said, man, this kid is a difference maker. He only played in 5 games last year. So I say all that. I know I was long-winded, but I wanted to share that story with you. Watch out for the name Zay Hall, because I think he's going to commit to Alabama, and I think he's a guy that could really shock some people.
Mike linebacker, Sam linebacker, what does he project?
Yeah, he can play it all. He's going to be an inside. He's an inside backer, high school. Coach Mitchell told us, he said, look, we could put him on the outside. He's a great coverage guy. He said, but here's the thing. We got to put him on the inside because he's sideline to sideline. He said he's just, he's that good. He said he's sideline to sideline. And so Zay Hall's a guy that I think you may see his name this year really kind of shoot up the rankings. So if it does, we'll talk about that.
Man, well, we've got it written down. We're looking forward to following his success. All right, Rodney, I think I know the answer to this question. And I know it's early, but as of right now, is defensive lineman the position that, in your estimation, that Alabama needs to work on a little bit more? That's an area of need.
Yes, I think they've got to close. I mean, they've got to get the guys we talked about. They got Finch and the other guys, and they've got to get Golden. Watch Golden, Elijah Golden, Tank Jones, Nolan Wilson. They've got to get those guys. And don't forget now, there's 3 guys in Birmingham. Bodney Cleveland, who was originally committed to Alabama, just committed to Texas.
Yep.
Tyson Bacon at Hoover was committed to Tennessee. He flipped to Miami. You got another kid up there, Emmanuel Ruffin, who they say is going to Ohio State. That's 3 guys within 50 miles of your campus, defensive linemen, that you really kind of were looking at other guys, okay? So I think it's really important that Alabama close on the guys they're on. I mean, they've got it. I think they need 2 more. They need 2 of those 3 that we mentioned.
Rodney, always great information, always something to look forward to every time we visit. Always great information and conversation at TiderInsider.com. How do they get in touch?
Well, it's TiderInsider.com. It's only $48 a year. You can get instant access with your credit card. If you prefer, there is an address there to send a check, and that gives you all our premium information. Again, our Firecracker 5 that we had yesterday, and the other picks that we also included. And then, of course, our All Sports Forum. I mean, that's our community of Alabama fans. And listen, we're going to be in July before you know it, SEC Media Days, and then on to camp in August. It's going to be rolling.
Rodney, I'm amazed how many people on Tider Insider message board are interested in how many rounds of golf Hugh Freeze has been playing lately.
I saw that, and man, I didn't even know that there was AL.com did a story on it.
Yeah, oh boy, did they.
Appreciate you very much.
Hey, Rodney, real quick before we let you go, Barry and I are going to take an early jump on the 4th of July next week, so we won't be on, but we'll catch you in 2 weeks if that's okay.
Hey, that's fantastic. I look forward to it.
Thank you very much, Rodney.
All right, guys, take care.
All right, Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider. Check him out at TiderInsider.com. TITV as well, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. And with the 4th of July, a little more than a week away, get your 4th of July planned and ready to go with fresh seafood from the Destin Connection at 3750 Norman Bridge Road in Montgomery. Call ahead, 288-4272. Whatever you may need, fresh snapper, grouper, flounder, boiled shrimp and medium, large, and jumbo, fresh oysters and crawfish, so many great delicacies from the sea. They've got it at the Destin Connection Seafood Market. My favorite place in the grilled grouper po' boy for lunch. I'm going to be in town this Saturday, Barry. I'm going. That's right. I'm calling ahead, picking up my grilled grouper po' boy on Saturday for lunch.
We're here at the Montgomery Regional Airport. Again, we're upstairs now. Near the atrium over there near the beginning of TSA. John, just since we've been on the air with Rodney, traffic is picking up, people getting ready for their flights. You mentioned this, and I've seen this 3 times in the last 40 minutes or so. There's some young travelers. In this instance, right over there, a couple of young boys, trailer, and they hit that atrium and they're looking up and wow. The stars up there in the atrium. Sure. That's always been a big hit here.
When I see the little ones, Barry, the first thing I think of, they're going to Disney World. They're heading to Disney. I can just kind of see it. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are, but who knows? but it is a nice wave of travelers leaving out of MGM today. Why? Because it's so convenient. You know, traveling should be about convenience and the ease of travel, less hassles. I mean, you know me, I don't like a lot of hassles. I don't like a lot of delays and surprises. You're not going to get that at MGM. Barry mentioned it. You see the our background here, the atrium.
Yeah.
Our two vehicles are parked right outside that window.
Yep.
That's where you can park to walk straight into the terminal. Easy check-in either through the ticket agent at the counter or use the kiosk. Come up the escalator, go through TSA, boom, you're at your boarding gate, ready to go. Enjoy some coffee, great donut at Dunkin', or Runway 28, get you an ice-cold Bud Light, which I've done before, many a time before I get on board. Now, usually not at this time of day, Barry, but maybe a cup of coffee before noon. But after afternoon, whew, I'm hitting Runway 28 for a Bud Light.
Also, we mentioned this. We're about 3 weeks into a 6-week promotion, a community-focused initiative, the Stop Double Tripping campaign to educate and engage you, local travelers, on the convenience of flying from your hometown airport instead of making a trip to larger hubs so you can make another trip out there. You know, why in the world would you go somewhere far away so you can catch a flight and go somewhere far away? More information on that available at flymgm.com/double tripping. It's a great promotion with prizes and all kinds of different information on why it makes sense to fly
really
out of
does.
the Montgomery Regional Airport.
No reason not to. Barry, I had some friends in college that did some double tripping.
That probably has something to do with the fact that John and I did a little double dipping in college.
Yeah.
Like, I had to miss a year of college because I had an injury. John had to miss a year of college.
And
then another year, and then another year, and then another year.
I only missed like
That's
one.
a different kind of double tripping.
Yeah, but it was,
we both
it was fun. I got a lot of memories. At least I got that working
And
for me.
who wants to trade?
All right, Barry, when we get back.
Yeah.
The Phantom's Daily Dog.
We've had people ask before we got on the show 3 things they want out of us today besides the information on the Montgomery Regional Airport. Jason Caldwell, should the Auburn fans be double tripping about a couple of double decommitments?
Don't worry. It's okay.
Guys, you got to ask Rodney Orr about his Firecracker 5 because he's releasing them early and we don't want to miss it. And what about the Phantom's Daily Dog? We've got 2 of those already in the barn. We'll address the 3rd when we come back. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Well,
I say we keep going.
we might be going.
I say let's keep going. Why not?
Is that is that Tobias checking in on the chat line there? I think it is.
Yeah.
That is Tobias. checking in.
Tobias says, people crying about 3 stars don't understand this isn't the final rankings. Players develop. Keelan Russell rings a bell. I don't know what Keelan Russell is necessarily the example you bring up because he ain't been a 3-star his whole life. In the revenue share era, big boys are taking more 3 stars because they only have so much money to pay these players. That's a good point.
I wonder about that.
That's a good point. And that's what Jason is talking about with the decommitments. You know, you want to take care of the guys you got. You want to take care of the guys, you know, that'll be here next year. Do you want to take money away from those guys next year for a guy this year that really you don't need that bad? You need that other guy worse? That's a good point. And that's what Jason Jones was telling us last week, is that it's not really going to impact a group of 5 as much as you might think, because not everybody's going to have $20.5 million. Not everybody is going to be able to pay just the football players. Not everybody's going to be able to pay the football players as much as they want. So a lot of these guys may just simply get better deals at a group of 5 school where they can come in, they can play right away,
Yep.
as opposed to, we only see you as a second teamer or maybe split time, so we're not going to pay you as much as we're going to pay the star wide receiver.
Barry, I think that's an interesting point. I never really thought about that. But, everybody gravitates toward first teamers. But what about these second team guys, maybe third team guys that aren't getting the playing time that they feel like they should be getting or want? And they go to a program in the Sun Belt, boom, they're an instant star.
And they're making the same money or maybe even better money as a first teamer in the Sun Belt than they would as a third teamer somewhere else where they're not going to play very much. So, that is a fair point, and I do think that helps the
So I'm
group
just kind of
five a lot.
curious, if you're a second teamer, say, at Alabama, Troy wants to say, hey, you come play for us, you start right now.
Right.
I'm just curious what kind of money he would be, I don't know what he's getting at Alabama as a second teamer, probably, I don't know. But I wonder what kind of money a Sunbelt school could offer him.
I do too. I do know that there's a plan. I know there's a plan at Troy. There's been a plan for a long time. Jason said Troy's not going to get to the $20.5 million, but I guarantee you that they have a plan on who they're paying and how much and all of that. So it is interesting to think about. I did like Jason's commentary yesterday because of what he last week, because of kind of putting it in layman's terms. We'll see if we can take a break again here, and if not, I may try to play a commercial here.
Well, why
myself.
not? Yeah, look at that. You're a multitasker.
Well, let's see if it works. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information. July the 7th is your last chance to take advantage of below employee pricing. Save thousands until July 7th at Stivers Ford in Montgomery. Up to $19,000 off new 2024 F-150s. That's up to $11,000 below employee pricing. Up to $15,000 off new 2024 Expeditions. That's up to $9,000 below employee pricing. And up to $11,000 off new 2024 Broncos. That's up to $8,000 below employee pricing. Take advantage of these and so many more offers during this incredible tariff buster pricing sale going on until July 7th at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, 4000 Eastern Boulevard.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Okay, back at it here live from the Montgomery Regional Airport, getting better the more you use it. Great to hear from Tobias, who comes in and out of MGM quite a bit when he comes back into town. So we really appreciate him checking in with us here today. He's out in the deserts of Arizona.
Yep.
Is our man John still out in New Mexico? I think he crossed the border one day. I hope he got back.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
This from from Tobias as well. He says, great thing about Montgomery Regional is baggage claim and enterprise are right next to each other. Man, you got to go see my buddy Chris.
Yeah.
Our guy Chris over there in the Hertz counter.
I think he might run the enterprise too. I think Chris has enterprise as well.
Wouldn't surprise me. Chris is a go-getter.
No doubt.
Chris, one of my favorites out there.
Hey, Tobias, new baggage claim area too, even quicker, more expedited.
Yeah.
So
by
makes
the
it
way,
even quicker here.
real real quick on that. The baggage claim, John mentioned it
Yep.
earlier, and we mentioned as a $5 million baggage claim renovation
How about that?
over the next 18 months. So there's
Yeah.
not going to be any stoppage in service. You're not going to have any inconvenience while they renovate the baggage claim at all. 2 new systems in addition to the regular conveyor systems they already have. There's going to be a lot of different creations, customer counters in the car rental experience.
Oh, yeah.
And there's going to be a little bit of aesthetics as well.
Love it.
For passengers coming into Montgomery, landing in Montgomery and coming in, it's going to look a lot nicer, although they haven't as of yet stopped us for the high resolution photo of Longshore and McKnight here to put, I'm seeing mural.
Yeah, I like
18
that.
by 20 feet, something like that. They haven't hit that yet.
I think we might can get that worked out.
Yeah,
I think it's
okay.
a great idea. I love that. Okay, well, I guess it's time to talk about the Phantom's Daily Dog, which yesterday, Barry, I don't have the box score in front of me. I love checking out the box score to see if there was just any moment in the game where there was some tension, where there was some uncertainty, I don't know, maybe some fear. If you look at the box score, you can kind of tell, we were down in the 4th inning, but we had a big comeback here. We're talking about the Brewers hosting the Pittsburgh Pirates yesterday. It was an early game, so you had to be, getting on it early.
Look, we told you that it was a big deal. It was a big deal. And yes, we're working on trying to get the Rodney Orr scroll off the bottom of our screen.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to do that. But it was the 2 young fireballers, Jacob Misiorowski for the Brewers, who throws like 102 against Paul Skeens for the Pirates, who had been the hottest young pitcher in the world. 2 years ago, he was pitching for LSU for the national championship. Last year, he was in the majors, and he was terrific. He's off to a great start this year. And it was Misiorowski who outpitched him. Misiorowski, he made his debut against the Braves and absolutely shellacked them, just shut them down. He's made 3 starts. He's given up 3 hits.
Boom.
That's it.
And who the fuck I would have known something about these pitchers.
So that was the gist of it anyway. That was the run-up. But the final score, Brewers and Milwaukee. Again, like John said, it was an early game, so I got to catch a good bit of it. Milwaukee wins it 4-2. Misiorowski was terrific. And he gets the victory. He is now 3-0. Skeens gets the loss. He's been so great, but he plays for a terrible team, and he's 4-7. So there you go.
So we got a win last night. I believe that's how many days? That's 2 out of 3 so far this week in baseball, heading into today's action. And once again, Barry, you can't be asleep at the wheel, so to speak.
Pay attention now.
Because we're going early again today, which on Thursdays, there's a lot of early games, getaway games, they call them. Take your daughter to the game day.
Yeah. Isn't she
thing.
kind of older to be his daughter?
Yeah, kind of stuff. So today, Barry, and I don't understand it because this is the 4th game. It's a 4-game series between these two. 1:15 in St. Louis at Busch. They still call it Busch Stadium?
Yes.
Busch Stadium in St. Louis. If I saw this correctly, Barry, St. Louis has been an underdog every game against the Chicago Cubs. They're an underdog again today. Now, okay, last night wasn't good for them. Chicago wins it 8-0, I believe. That was yesterday. Didn't Foreigner have a song?
And that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Had the world in my hand.
Yeah, that's right. You thought you did, and then it 8-0 hit you in the face.
Well, St. Louis, 7 games over 500. Pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Cubs are 14 games over 500. Cubs are having a terrific year right now. And it's a rivalry anyway. People in southern Illinois love St. Louis because it's right across the river. People in northern Illinois love the Cubs. So it'll be a pretty good one. Cardinals are right now in 3rd place in the NL Central. They're 3.5 behind the Cubs, who are in 1st. It's a big it's a big game in this series.
It is a big game, Barry. Home team underdog, St. Louis plus 120 this afternoon, hosting the Cubs in a getaway game. We're going with the Birds. We like St. Louis to win the game today against Chicago. I know it's been kind of a rough series so far for St. Louis. They get the win this afternoon at plus 120. We like the Cardinals as the Phantoms daily dog today.
When we come back,
about that,
I'm pretty sure, Gurn Jr. is not with us right now. I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to be able to run the Victoryland 777 topic wheel, but
it could still be here. We have 21 minutes left in the program today.
So,
you never know.
We give you a little bit of suspense along with everything else in this program.
Yes.
We're live at the Montgomery Regional Airport. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946. Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Okay, Barry, here with about 19 minutes to go until the top of the hour. Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Along with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. Check us out at yellowhammernews.com. You can watch video content. There's a great write-up about our show each and every day, Barry. Usually in the afternoons. I think it's a group there at Yellowhammer that kind of writes these articles about us and the synopsis of the show, but they do a fabulous job.
I do like it. Yeah.
They can get everything we've done in 2 hours in about 2 paragraphs. It's awesome.
What I love about it, and somebody has told me that they've done that, I think a lot of it they do chronologically. Like John and Mary opened up the show talking about, the NBA draft or whatever like that. So a lot of it's chronological. So if somebody is watching us, as we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people do on loop, after we're off the air, we're live from 7 to 9. If you're watching us some other time, you don't have to go through the entire show to see that great interview with Jason Caldwell.
True.
They say, well, where was Jason Caldwell on the Yellowhammer News synopsis? So it's down. Okay, so they kind of know where to scroll and where to scrub to get to and all that. I didn't realize this until last week. You were gone. We had a guy, gosh, what was it? What was the context? I was somewhere, and a guy says, man, love watching you guys on Longshore and McKnight. I said, well, great. Well, tomorrow morning we're going to be at Stivers at that time, Stivers in Prattville. He says, well, I can't, because he was from Prattville.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And he said, well, I can't go out there and visit with you because I'm working at that time. He says, I watch you every day, but I never watch you live.
Beautiful.
And there's a lot of people that do that. Again, Yellowhammer News. You can watch on if you're watching us on our YouTube channel. It's YouTube Longshore and McKnight. You can watch that there anytime. Spotify, you can listen to it anytime while you're driving or whatever. And so he says, "Is it edited after you guys get off of there?" And I said, "What do you mean?" I said they edit it, to the beginning of the show, the end of the show, and then they had it back up. He says, "Well, I mean, in case you guys ever say anything dumb or say something that later on turns out to be wrong." I said, number one, we don't ever do that.
True.
But number two, even if we did, hey, you got to take us as we come, Life doesn't have an edit button, So there have been
I
times,
wish it had.
Kidding. Boy, there have been times when John has made predictions that haven't come true.
That is a fact.
Head coach at Alabama,
Here we go.
effective quarterbacks in the 1998 NFL draft, stuff like that just didn't pan out. You think he's going to go back and say, "No, I never said that"? No, hey, man, we're on this thing. We're live. We're together. Some of it's off the cuff. You've got to take it as it comes, just like life.
You're getting the raw footage just as it was presented live each and every day. So we appreciate that. And Barry, you're right. A lot of folks are, checking us out on Facebook, YouTube,
Facebook is
Instagram,
big, yeah.
Spotify, as you mentioned, on X. You're exactly right. And you had sent me some information, Barry, about how many folks view us on Facebook. I mean, the numbers have really grown. We can't do it without you. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You never miss any content, get instant notifications. And man, really, the numbers on Facebook have been really, really encouraging.
Like thousands and thousands of people on that, which I was unaware of. If you're looking for timely stuff today, a quick catch up here. If you're looking for stuff, all right, here I am. Maybe I got the day off. Maybe I got a little time off in the afternoon. What's going on out there I can pay attention to? Well, I can tell you this. Normally, we go over what the Atlanta Braves have done because this is such a hotbed of Braves activity.
Has Mal chimed in yet?
Well, I'm happy and sad today.
Can I just say this? I know this is going to come as a shock because I was more worried about the Brewer Pirate game. This is going to be news to me because I have not checked on the Braves today.
You didn't watch?
No, I did not.
Didn't listen? Didn't listen on the Braves radio?
I haven't looked up a score. I know that doesn't shock you. So what you're about to say is news to me, too.
Well, happy and sad.
Okay.
Sad in the fact that as a Braves fan, Atlanta lost yesterday to the New York Mets. That's not why we didn't bring it up yet. We've just been busy.
Yep.
Braves lose by a final score of 7-3 to the Mets. The Braves have lost the first game. They've been handling the Mets. The Mets are now 2-8 in their last 10. Braves, all right, they're 9.5 games behind the Phillies, who are in first place by a half game over the Mets. But I'm happy for this because the Mets winning pitcher, he wasn't the starter, but he was the winner. Maybe he was the starter. Clay Holmes.
Okay.
Clay Holmes, 32-year-old right-hander for the New York Mets, winning pitchers, had a great year so far. He's 8-4 with a 2.97 ERA. Yeah,
impressive.
I think he did start the game. Clay Holmes is a red top.
What?
Clay Holmes is from Slocum High School in Slocum, Alabama, born in Dothan, high school in Slocum. Have you ever been to Slocum?
Well, Barry, you mentioned
he's a local. He's a Wiregrass guy.
Tell me where Slocum actually is in relation to Dothan.
Slocum is northwest of Dothan, but not by much. If you like I do, like Dee and I do, when we go down to Florida, you go down 231, and right before you hit the city limits of Dothan, there's Highway 605.
Correct.
Shouldn't tell everybody this because it's a little 2-lane road. 605 goes west and north. West and south of Dothan. And that's kind of a cutoff where you can get to below Dothan, 231. You miss all the traffic and everything. Slocum is just off that road. Slocum's near Daleville. It's near Oh gosh.
So you
it's not really,
mentioned-
but yes, Slocum,
You mentioned Red Top.
the Red Tops.
So I need the origin on that. My sister-in-law and her husband have a farm, and they call it Red Top, and it's in that area. They live in Dothan, but they've got this area
All right.
outside of Dothan. They call it their farm, their hunting place, Red Top.
The Red Tops is their mascot.
Yeah.
I don't know why. One of my most favorite Troy players, defensive end Jarvis Hayes from several years ago, is a Slocum graduate.
I just thought it was some catchy, cute name. I did not know that.
I could not tell you. Anybody out there that has, Jason or any of our Wiregrass viewers, I know we've got a lot of you.
So,
Can you give us the origin of the Slocum Red Tops, the alma mater of one of the best pitchers in the National League East right now, Clay Holmes of the New York Mets, who got the win last night, 8-4, born in Dothan, and a proud graduate of Slocum High School, the Slocum Red
Let me
Tops.
ask you this, Barry. I've heard of Carrot Top. Think he made a cameo in Hangover movie.
Oh, one of my favorite Conan O'Brien moments was when they had Courtney Thorne Smith, beautiful actress. She was on Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
She's been on a couple of TV programs. Very, very, very pretty lady, very good actor, and all this kind of stuff. This was years ago because it was back when Norm Macdonald was alive. You can go check it out on YouTube.
Courtney Thorne.
Courtney Thorne Smith.
Blonde. Yeah. I know you're talking about.
She's on there, and they're talking with Conan. They'd already talked with Norm Macdonald. He's over there on the side. Late great Norm Macdonald. And anyway, he'll say anything. So she says, well, so Conan is kind of wrapping it up. He says, so Courtney, you've got a new movie out, as yet untitled. And she says, no, it's called Chairman of the Board. She says, she says, I'm in this movie. It's got Carrot Top.
Yeah.
And he says, it's as yet unnamed. And Norm Macdonald says, he says, I've got a name for it. If it's got Carrot Top in it, it should be titled Box Office Poison.
Wow.
And she's there to promote her movie.
Whoa.
And she says, come on, I'm in it. I'm trying to promote it. He said, and Conan's just roasting Norm Macdonald for saying that. And he says, all right, so she's got a movie as yet untitled. And she says, it's called Chairman of the Board. Do something with that, you freak. And Norm says, I get it. It's called Chairman of the Board. If it's got Carrot Top in it, its board is spelled B-O-R-E-D. Wow. So that's Carrot Top.
Man.
Who has nothing to do with
Red Top.
Red Top, which is the Slocum High School athletic mascot.
Carrot Top used to play on the Strip in Vegas. I think he had some drug issues or something. Put on a lot of weight, took some steroids. I don't know. But he
now that's a little bit unfair, Theotis. That's a little bit below the belt. No, but
you're right about that.
Yes, and that was the hot blonde.
She was also in that movie with Mark Harmon called Summer School.
Yes,
she was. That's right.
With the guy named Dean Cameron, I think was his name, who played Chainsaw.
Yes,
in that movie. Why in the world Mark Harmon did not win any Academy nominations?
And how we got Hollywood Nights going with Travis the other day.
Zoo Bomb Turk.
So Barry, I don't know how this popped up yesterday.
This is John and me riffing.
Yeah.
This is later on. I guarantee you this stuff won't get edited out.
No.
None of it does. We get it as it comes.
So Travis Ryer, who joins us on Tuesdays, I've never met his father, but I know him refers to him as Pops.
Yes. I've met Pops before.
I got to meet this guy.
I have.
Because, Barry, I see a video clip yesterday of Pops singing karaoke. I'm going, whoa, wait a minute.
YouTube, I'm sorry, Twitter at Travis Ryer.
I gotta meet this guy.
Gosh, I have met him before.
So they're looking at the screen. I guess the words are coming across. Yeah. Pops has got the mic. Maybe the granddaughter is singing along with him. And I mean, Pops ain't missing a beat.
No, Pops needs to be the one in media.
Yeah,
as
I'm
much as
thinking,
Travis is.
man.
Well, let's take a break.
Let's do it.
We've got again, without the topic wheel right now, we are riffing a little bit more.
It's okay.
Glad you're along with us. Love it here at the Montgomery Regional Airport. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams. Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 23.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
Everybody, welcome back in. A couple of minutes before the top of the hour, I wanted to mention a special edition, Barry, of sports on CBS 8 and ABC 32 tonight.
Special edition.
Special edition. Yep. Let me make sure I got the times correct. 5:36 and 10 on CBS 8 and ABC 32.
Lindsey Bonner.
I'll
right?
be joining Lindsey Bonner,
She's so great.
who is a newlywed. She just got married last week.
That?
So this will be Lindsey. I don't know if it's her first time back since her marriage and honeymoon, but I know it will be the first time we'll be together tonight. So the newlywed, Lindsey Bonner now on CBS 8 and ABC 32. And we're already getting ready for SEC Media
That's
Days.
what I was about to say. Why the special edition?
Yeah, we're going to be touching a little bit on the SEC Media Days upcoming in a couple of weeks over in Atlanta. Obviously, Barry and I will be there. So will CBS 8. We'll have a lot of coverage on the TV side for you from Atlanta. So we're just going to be kind of previewing and looking ahead of some of the things we think might, pop up over in Atlanta.
That's going to be good. Next tonight, CBS 8. Always enjoy the content there. We were talking about this real quick before we get out of here. Anything tonight? Well, there's baseball. You can watch some of that.
We got a big one at 1:15 today. You kidding me?
Ooh, yeah, on the Phantoms. The Phantoms Daily Dog.
Yeah.
NBA draft, 7:00 tonight, round 2.
Should I ask this question?
Don't sit there waiting pins and needles about Janai Broom.
No.
Because I don't think he's projected in the second round.
I should probably know this, Barry, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm asking. I'm admitting it. I was surprised when I saw 2 of the first 5 picks last night came from Rutgers.
Yep.
What did
They
I miss?
are good. They are good. Well, what they missed is a good year. The guys, Ace Parker's one, I can't think of the name of the other one. Those guys, just freshmen, came in really good. Rest of the team was terrible, and there were some injuries involved as well. Of course, Duke had 3 out of the top 8.
Yep.
So there. Otherwise, television today, I guess they start the Rocket Classic on the Golf Channel.
Sure.
That's in
Rocket
Detroit.
Mortgage. Yeah, Rocket Mortgage, which I believe is based in Detroit.
Detroit golf in
Yeah,
Detroit.
you know, between the U.S. and the British Open, you kind of have some of the, you know, Greater Greensboro Open kind of events. I believe this used to be the John Deere Classic, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe so.
Not some of the more top events, but I'll probably check out a little bit of it. All right. You need to check out the Montgomery Regional Airport, making travel so much easier, so much more convenient. Check it all out at flymgm.com. Also, tomorrow, Barry, we will be at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where the below employee pricing event, the Tariff Buster event, ends on July the 7th.
Tick.
Hurry in.
We'll tell you all about it tomorrow. Lots of great programming tomorrow. It's going to have to go a long way to equal the great stuff we've had today from Jason Caldwell, AuburnUndercover.com, Rodney Ortiter, Insider.com, The Phantom as well. For everybody here at the Montgomery Regional Airport, for our producer, Gurn Jr., with John Longshore, Barry McKnight, in association with Yellowhammer News, Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.